The most evil channel on YouTube? That's pretty hard. Like, to be the most, like, that's a tough competition.
My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. There are hundreds and hundreds of anecdotes in which parents mention the exact same problem.
What?
The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop.
What the fuck? What do they do?
Watching. Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive.
So they're trying to make this, like, what are they trying to make kids stupid?
The colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The 3 main colors, blue, green, and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter, no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic, and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines. Cocomelon put these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views.
38 video with over, oh my god. Bro, this makes Mr. Beast look like a joke. This is insane.
A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does.
So it's like mental manipulation, brainwashing for like babies and toddlers? What the fuck?
Second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room.
To be fair, I do that all the time, but yeah.
Is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention. Cocomelon explains in every description, our goal is to help make learning a fun and enjoyable experience for kids, giving you the peace of mind that your children are receiving quality educational content. But
yeah, I think this is another example. Remember what I was talking about, how things being stated as being healthy should have a higher standard of accountability? I think that if you want to say something is educational, I feel the same way about it. It's made to make money. Yeah, like this is an appeal to like some sort of like authority or something separate, right?
People have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas.
I didn't know I watched Cocomelon. That's crazy.
Or
I guess they must add this when I was a kid.
The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me. On the topic of education, Jerica...
Bro, like, they're turning the kids against their parents. Oh my god.
And stated, these people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money. That's it. Your child's cognitive development in direct exchange for their wealth, and there's pretty good evidence supporting this. A New York Times journalist...
I do have to say, like, I think that expecting YouTube to raise your kids and teach your kids these, like, very crucial things, you're making a mistake by doing that. Like, even if, whether it's like a TV show or anything like that, it's bad to do that. No, I'm not excusing Cocomelon or saying that they're good, but, you know, it takes 2 to tango here, and I think the parents should have a degree of accountability for this.
Visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering their #1 focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates.
It's like, I mean, you're basically like, I mean, this is like a fucking Nax geared rating team that's like farming an Elwyn forest. Like, they're like camping level 2 players. And they have like entire analytics and data and psychology behavioral teams. Bro, these kids don't even have a chance. Yeah, they're spawn camping. I'm not even kidding.
Should a girl wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be loud or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractotron room, in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out.
It's like you get the Clockwork Orange going on. I like that a lot. There you go. That's smart.
Next to the TV playing Cocomelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractotron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted.
Bro, like, this is a crazy level of min-maxing just to farm a 2-year-old. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah, they're like optimizing how can you turn this kid's brain into jelly the easiest way. MK Ultra? Well, this is MK Ultra Kids Edition.
Therefore, education clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element, rapid camera cutting. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds between a change of frame. Well, TikToker the Circus Brain did exactly this. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut.
Well, that makes sense considering that, I mean, I think the target audience for My Little Pony is 28-year-old men.
He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
In her video, the night...
Jesus, yeah. Like, I don't even know if I could watch that. Oh my god. So I guess that's how they keep the kid's attention, because they keep switching frames, so the kid has to focus to pay attention to what's happening.
That is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding Cocomelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds.
Wow.
The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. This
Damn. Bro, they min-maxed the fuck out of this. That's really impressive. I mean, like, I don't know, really, like, is it that impressive that you're able to, like, you know, fucking mind control a 2-year-old? Like, I'm not sure if it's really that impressive, but it's still kind of surprising.
therefore produces stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video came on, and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video. It was honestly kind of terrifying.
Oh my god. Oh, that's fucking sick, dude. Oh, that's real good.
YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face, and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary.
Yeah.
This was also discovered by Sarah Mills 98, who explained when the Cocomelon addiction is so real that my 1-year-old can navigate the TV to turn it on by himself.
Bro, this kid is fucked. Like, I want to know what's going to happen in 5 years when they try to teach these kids how to do math. Like, look at his fucking face, man. He's cooked. He's super, bro. He's a year old. He's already cooked. Oh, man.
However, nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly and video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly. The New York Times journalist found—
I feel like a lot of kids do that. I'm not really sure how much. Like, anytime that you played the Pokemon theme, I would be doing the same thing.
something similar. The kid in the Distractotron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the Cocomelon theme song. It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that Cocomelon song comes on, they're like, ah, life is okay. All is good with the world.
Bro. This is amazing. Yeah, like this is, wow. Is toddler fentanyl? Oh man, this is like...
Obviously, there's a reason for this.
Yeah, for
Cocomelon
money.
is so hyper-stimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away. Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 minutes after, adding in the description, Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which
What the fuck is going on? That's insane.
this Reddit user had experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show. Her behavior changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it.
I do think that like there is like a certain degree of like parenting skill issue that's happening with this. Because it's like who turned the show on, right? Who did this, right? But it's still crazy how addictive this is. Even then.
After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation.
See, like, I used to watch Dora the Explorer whenever I was younger. I was like 14, and I would watch Dora the Explorer. And I remember that I watched it for the exact opposite reason. Because I would watch it before I would go to school. I was actually probably 15 or 16. Yeah, that's not true. And the reason why is that it was like, it was so dumb and so slow and predictable that I could just totally turn my brain off and just watch this show and relax. So it's crazy to see the exact, it was like, yeah, it's like a detox. Yeah. It's like okay, the world, like, oh yeah, bro, like I gotta get my driver's license, and then like, where am I gonna go to college? Like, oh, bro. And then it's like swiper, no swiping, you know, and she's like, uno, dos, tres. Okay, all right, finally. Now I can fucking, let's get back on an even keel here, right? Yeah, it's a bit of an opiate, right? Exactly. And that's how it was. So yeah, it's weird for me to see this because I had the exact opposite experience. That's crazy.
basically, Cocomelon overstimulates their brains so much that everything else just seems slow and boring in comparison.
However, the potential consequences get much worse than this.
I want to see the
As
kid
mentioned
meltdown.
at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too."
What does that have to do? I don't know if that's really
but can't speak
Cocomelon.
properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late. Over on Reddit,
I think that it's genetic with this one.
a speech-language pathologist explained, "Screen time in general is linked with speech delays for a variety of reasons, but Cocomelon is excessively bad. Firstly, unlike other TV shows or movies, it doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips with poorly written songs.
So it's just like there's no story. There's like no. It's just like vapid, brain dead, fucking, like, oh my god. Like brain soup, loud noises. Kids are just watching a video. I know, it's crazy. Wow.
Unable to follow the plot, learn vocabulary, and see the resolution of a conflict, supported by infant specialist Meg Fora.
And the problem with fast-paced TV programs is that we find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal.
4 to 5 hours. Like, whenever I was a little kid, like 2 or 3 years old, was I spending 4 or 5 hours on a screen? Probably, yeah. Like, I mean, I was playing video games, man. Like, I remember by the time I was, like, if I could, I would be on that game or doing that shit all day. Yeah. Not at 2. The crazy thing is that I actually was. Like, my mom has photos of me as a little fucking kid, as like a baby, basically, sitting there playing Atari. Yep. Same beating Sonic at 4. I didn't beat Sonic at 4, bro. Like, that's like some fucking, like, gaming prodigy shit. You can beat Sonic at 4 years old? I don't even believe that. That shit was hard. You fucking lying, bro.
4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time,
Maybe you
but
beat
in
the first
Cocomelon
level.
Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of
beat it
TV a
now.
day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. These screen times might be even lower for Cocomelon specifically, because as explained by Jerica Sands, not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child
So
who
you need to have the kids watch Lord of the Rings.
just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra Renee
ADHD going ham. A lot of kids have it. I think, like, really being hyper addicted to being stimulated constantly. Like, I'll see these, like, TikTok videos, and it'll be like, there'll be like 3 things happening all at the same time. There'll be like some fucking, like, a video playing, a person playing a video game, and then, like, words coming out, and, like, the words are popping up. Like, yeah, it's nuts. Like, for me, TikTok's the same. Yeah, that's a good idea. Lead, asbestos, plastics, Cocomelon. Yeah, bro, like, these kids, like, they're eating eating lead from, like, the Lunchly stuff from Logan Paul, or sorry, from, like, you know, I guess Mr. Beast and, like, the Feastables. They're addicted to candy. They're, like, having fucking you know, sodium, high blood pressure at 4 years old because they can't stop drinking Prime Energy. They're, like, addicted to this TV show that has no plot, and it's just a bunch of loud noises and weird words, and, like so by 5 years old, bro, like, your kid is functionally fucking retarded. Like, that's it, bro. Like, by 5, just give up. Try again. Start over. It's not gonna work. Yeah, he's cooked. He burned out.
Explained my 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums.
Wow.
Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching. Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive amount of dislikes. They've therefore earned the title, the absurdly popular kids show parents hate, and Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children.
I think this is true, but at the same time, you can't say that it's educational. It's like saying this is healthy. Well, what is it? It's fentanyl. Well, you have to use it in moderation. Of course, if you use a lot of fentanyl, it'll be bad for you. Yeah, but using a little bit is also bad. It's just not as bad. Like, yeah, just a little fentanyl. It's just a little bit, you know?
Is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. Cocomelon does have a crazy amount of supporters, but it's obvious that some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases.
Her baby is 7 years old. Yeah. That's the fine print that's not shown in this video. In the comment. Yeah, they're 37, yeah. They're 15.
But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much.
Well, both things are true, right? I mean, like, Cocomelon probably does seem to be like, you know, vapid crack addiction porn for like 2-year-olds. Absolutely. And it's also the parents' fault for letting the kids watch it. So, like, it's bad that it exists, and it's bad that the parents watch it. Saying it takes two to tango doesn't mean that, like, both parties aren't wrong.
Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've got some absolute...
Let's look at that.
My son is...
So, yeah, I think so. Parents are the sole issue. I think that parents are the only thing that can solve this problem. But it's fair to say that the content is clearly not educational. If by every type of investigation that's done by any person who is qualified to make an educational judgment on something, like, results in saying this isn't educational, then I don't think you should be saying it's educational. I mean, at that point, like, you're misleading parents on purpose, and you're appealing to, like, a degree of authority or a degree of, like, quality that you don't actually have. So, yeah, you're right that parents are ultimately accountable for this, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that the people that are taking advantage of the kids shouldn't also be held accountable to an extent as well. And I think that especially if you're presenting, like, it would be one thing if we just say, hey, we're just a kid's show, and if kids want to watch this, they can. If not, then don't watch it. But, like, to the extent that you try to actually present yourself as any form of, like, a healthy or beneficial alternative, then I think that that you now have made an extra statement about this, right? Toddlers should not have that much screen time. I don't know how, like, I don't know the first thing about how to, like, I don't have any kids. I'm not sure, right? But it does seem like a problem if you have a kid sitting here watching videos that have 1-second cuts for 5 hours a day. Like, I could easily see that happen. I mean, it's basically the Clockwork fucking Orange. So, yeah, easily. I'm suing Cocomelon for $100 million. Why? Is your kid retarded? Is that what happened? The kid doesn't know how to... He doesn't know the alphabet. He's 18 years old. There's a huge difference between passive and active screen time. I think that you're probably right about that. Like, my mom, the way that she used to do things is that I remember she'd buy me a game like Secret of Mana, and then she'd just buy the strategy guide. And I'd be like, can you help me figure out the game? She's like, just read the guide. And I was like, I can't read. She says, well, I guess you're not going to beat the game then. Figure it out. That's what it was. That's how I learned to fucking read. Yeah, that's it. She's like, yeah, you got to, yeah, then learn. Nice parenting. Yeah, no, I spent a lot of time, like, doing that, and, like, I mean, that's just generally how I did things. Yeah, gamers born. Exactly. That's how I learned English. That's how a lot of people learn things, yeah. I learned English at 8 to beat Pokemon Red. Oh, I get that. I mean, like, I think that's the way a lot of people do. It's smart to do that. I taught myself English because I wanted to watch anime. English? I thought that was... Isn't it Japanese, mainly? Yeah, I don't know. But, so I learned English too, because no RPGs had translations in my native tongue. That's crazy how common it is. Because I remember Miyazaki from, you know, Elden Ring, right? From Software, said the same thing. But yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize it was this bad. But I'm not surprised. I mean, like, farming, like, really stupid 2-year-olds is probably a really good way to make money. I bet they're making crazy money by doing that. Yeah, like, you're turning the kids, like, you're like, cutting their IQ in half. And you're making millions of dollars from it. It's actually, I wonder what it's like being a kid now, if your parents don't really, like, pay attention to what you're doing. I bet you're just constantly being taken advantage of. Like, you're on social media at, like, 8 years old, talking to adults. You know, you're seeing, like, weird, like, you're seeing, like, people get, like, run over by cars, people dying. There's, like, weird, like, porn. And, like, then there's you watching these, like, videos that are, like, fucked up and weird. And there's, like, YouTube algorithm that's feeding you more fucked up and weird videos. You're, like, drinking and addicted to, like, soda that's, like, you know, Prime Energy that's got, like, fucking so much caffeine in it that you've got, like, blood pressure levels of, like, 170 at 7 years old. You know, like, oh, God. Jesus. Oh, fuck. Like, I can't even imagine that. Man, he's about to drink some Prime soon. Yeah, I guess so. They made over, what's this here? They made over $128 million per year. Well, I bet they did. Yeah, it's insane, but I'm not surprised at all, actually.